And record. My name is Julia Friends. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and I'd like to invite everyone to bring your hands together in a little ritualistic form of arrival and looking at everyone and seeing everybody. And just taking a minute to look on the screen at all these beautiful people who have chosen to practice with us today. And if it's not comfortable to have your hands in this prayer pose, you can put it on your heart or you can jazz hands. Just take a moment to see everybody here and take a moment to reflect that when we look in each other's eyes, when we look in each other's faces, when we look at each other's smiles, we may be seeing ourselves reflected back. That's how the divine works. That's how mystery works, at least as it seems to me. So welcome, welcome, everyone. What a joy to be here today. Yeah, I love that. That's a little heart image here too. Isn't that sweet? Oh, look at that. It popped out of the heart. Hearts popped out. Wow. Oh my goodness. That was a surprise and a joy. Oh, simple pleasures for simple people, as my dad liked to say. Friends, let's begin. I'm going to close my eyes for just a moment so I can minimize any kind of distraction around me and really center into my body and my mind and my mood. And I encourage you to do the same. It may not mean closing your eyes, but just tap into yourself. Come into your awareness of yourself. I have a little something I want to show you. This says, meeting you where you are. It's a little stitchery thing I made many years ago. It's well loved. A little coffee stained thing. It has some red hair dye on it from my kids dyeing their hair rainbow colors. Meeting you where you are. And we can turn that around and bring that into an I statement, meeting myself where I am. That's the invitation in this moment. So take a moment. I'm going to meet myself, not only where I am, but as I am. I'm not going to insist I be anything other than as I am. I'm not going to force myself to be anywhere other than where I am. And maybe with a bit of friendly attention, you can meet yourself too. Check in with your body. Check in with your posture as we prepare and anchor for meditation. I'm sitting nice and tall. Yesterday, my shoulders were rolled forward. Today, they're not. They're rolled back in a very natural way. My spine feels really strong. My feet are firmly planted, so I have a little bit of lift. I feel bouncy. My heart is lifted so that my core body feels soft and open, so I can give myself access to a lot of breath. I know that when I breathe deeply and I give myself a bolus of oxygen, my blood cells love it. With oxygen-rich blood cells, everything about my body works better. It's almost like lubricant to a squeaky wheel. To simply breathe, to simply increase the oxygen load in my body allows everything to tick-tock with greater ease, suppleness, and fluidity. Right now, as I scan my body very quickly but reverently, I don't notice any discomfort. I feel lots of ease. I am noticing my legs wanting to be in an unusual posture. My left leg sitting in this chair is bent with my foot balancing on this desk chair arm that has a wheel on it, and my foot is balancing up on that, whereas my right leg is slightly extended for some reason. I don't have 90 degrees going on here. And I'm just noticing the difference in the posture of my legs that have allowed the base of my pelvis and my spine to feel really comfortable and at ease. So this is an invitation for you to meet your body, know your body, trust your body, and allow yourself some grace and some space to be in a posture that brings joy and comfort and ease. Yesterday, my mood was kind of meh. Today, I'm in a different mood. I'm lighter. I feel more joy. It snowed, and that brings joy in my heart. I love the snow. I love to drive in the snow. I like the slippery, slidey nature of snow. Naturally, I don't love fender benders that can come with it, but I'm a cautious driver. I'm a slow driver, and I enjoy the slushiness of snow. So my mood is light. How's your mood? What's your emotional state of being? Can you meet yourself as that emotion and just let it be? No need to change. If you're in a bad mood, if you're in an irritable mood, no need to be anything other than that. And maybe create a little bit of space around it to lean into it a little bit. Let's check in with the other foundations of mindfulness, our thoughts and stories, our perceptions. Just check in. How's your mind being occupied? For the month of January in the Spokane Sangha, we are exploring the first noble truth, but we're doing it by way of a couple of things that may be unique. The first is we're using the four foundations of mindfulness: body, emotion, thoughts, perceptions, and stories, as a way of looking at where am I uncomfortable? Where might I be suffering if we're going to use the language that's traditional to the First Noble Truth? If we're going to be creative, we can ask ourselves, am I dealing with any malcontent or disappointment, confusion? These are also words to describe suffering. But the other thing we're doing this month is we're exploring duality, which means it's opposite. Is there anything going on for me where I'm comfortable, where I feel ease and levity and brightness? And the reason why I, for myself in my own practice, like to partner suffering with non-suffering, so to speak, is because I have a propensity, I have a habit energy to lean toward the negative. And because I do that, I have a tendency to throw my mind and my perceptions out of balance. I forget or I dismiss all of the small wonders in my life, all the little nuances and subtleties that could be opportunities for joy, that could be life's shy way of saying, "Psst, Julia, over here, pay attention to me." This will bring a smile to your face. This will bring some sweetness to the sour. This will remind you that your life is a whole experience. It's not just the negative one. It's not the insufferable one. It's all these other things too. So where I'm uncomfortable, I want to explore where I'm also comfortable. Where I'm disappointed, where can I be accepting? Where I have confusion on a certain something, where do I have clarity on a certain something? And so for the next few moments, let's drop into some sacred silence. And let's have a personal practice where we're all meeting ourselves where we are, and we're all asking some basic inquiry questions. How am I today? Where am I uncomfortable? Upset? Where am I in my life at ease and joyful? Where am I neutral? And can we take a moment, can I take a moment to maybe just lean back a wee bit and observe? Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Oh, look at that. Eeks. And just observe. If you notice the mind starting to engage a habit energy of judgment, you shouldn't be that. You shouldn't think that. You should be somewhere other than what you are. Take a deep breath. Treat it like a shake on an Etch-a-Sketch or a swipe on a Magnadoodle. Just clear that thought out of there. That's that immature ego doing what it does. That's that inner critic voicing what it does. It's the only thing it knows how to do, and that's okay. But we're going to invite it to be quiet because I am in the process of observing. So when that inner critic rises up, I can just say, thank you. You can be quiet now. I'm observing my whole self. And sometimes, friends, I'm not going to lie here, I have to do that a lot because my inner critic voice, that immature ego, is strong, highly insistent, a little inflated, even bloated with its own knowing. I know what's best, Julia. You should be this. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And now I'm just going to observe and breathe. Take a moment. Slow down. Breathe in nice and slowly and exhale with reverence. Take stock of where you are as you meet yourself and enjoy this exploration of the first noble truth. May your mindful approach lend you the wisdom of your concentration. Enjoy, friends. Friends, my motivation for establishing these anchors for us and for the course of this month is to address that part of me anyway, that strong voice within me that has a propensity to suggest that I need to be other than where I am. And I have observed often in recovery communities and meetings that same habit energy, and it's voiced in words like, um, I have a month sober again. I'm only a day sober. I wish I was 6 months sober. I'm 6 months sober and I wish I was a year. I should be a year, but dot, dot, dot. And it's very important to address that voice without dismissing its message. So, really, what ends up happening when I hear that voice arise in my own mind is I feel really diminished. And when I'm diminished, I feel defensive. And in my defensiveness, I'm like, get out of here. Don't say that to me. I'm doing good. And I try to pump myself back up, but I ignore the essence of that message, which is it's true. I wish I was somewhere other than I am. That is true and not the whole truth. That's the kicker. That's why this particular mantra, an instrument of peace, is so powerful. To be able to meet myself and say, Julia, that's true. You do wish you were other than where you were. You wish you had more success than you do. That is true. And the truth is, I'm ignoring the achievements that I have. I'm ignoring the success I've made. I'm ignoring where I am in this moment. And that's the key. And that's the invitation for myself to bring myself back to, yes, I wish I was elsewhere. True. And the truth is that I'm here. Can I find the goodness here? Because here is different than where I was. Here is not where I want to be, but here is where I get to examine how to get to where I want to go. Here is where I get to explore my aspirations. Here is where I get to take stock of the success and the error. Here is where I get to be the whole of me. Here is the only thing that's real. And it's a practice, and I'm so happy we get to do so for the next month together. So with that, let's breathe in together as a community, as a collective soul. Breathing in, I meet myself where I am. Breathing out in this precious moment. Breathing in, here I am. Breathing out in this precious moment. Breathing in here, breathing out now. Breathing in, breathing out. And I invite you to close your eyes. And I'd like you to think of what I'm about to share with you, this trinity, three very specific things. And I invite you to allow your imagination to play with this and assign a shape. Most people, my mind anyway, likes to think of things linearly. So I've got a ruler in my mind, but I really try to play with things on a spiral, something that's a little bit more in motion, because a spiral offers more dimensionality. It offers a broader view than just a straight line. So I'm going to present it this trinity in sort of a linear fashion, but I invite you to allow your imagination to play with it a little bit, put some depth and texture to it, and see how it comes alive in your own mind and body and practice. This trinity is a very simple way of working with the mind and working with that ego, that inner critic, to recognize that there are times in our lives where we simply go unconscious. We fall asleep to our lives. We're unaware. We just go along with our habits, with our reactivity, and we don't even think about it. We are unconscious. That's the first thing. And then as we begin to practice, however, we cultivate a sensitivity that alerts us to the subtle and shy bells and whistles of our own hearts and minds, and we begin to grow in awareness. That's the second thing. So we're unconscious, and then we become conscious, and we recognize, oh, drats, I fell asleep and I engaged in habit energy. There I go. Would you look at that? Huh. I wonder what that was all about. And that question right there, I wonder what that's all about, leads us to the third thing, which is an opportunity, a possibility, a nugget of clarity that enables us to do something different. It enables us to see our habit energy, learn about the conditions that cultivated that encouraged our sleepiness, our unskillfulness, our mindlessness, our unconsciousness. And then in that opportunity is a way of acknowledging and celebrating. Oh my gosh, I woke up though. I was asleep, but then I woke up. Hooray! Good job, me. And then we go on. That's the practice, friends. And may we take this practice into our lives, breathe it into our lives, not just our minds, but in our hearts and our whole beings. And may we be friendly toward ourselves. May we be understanding toward ourselves. May we be compassionate and joyful. And by extension, may we radiate this out into the world. May I see in another's face myself. And may they see in me themselves. So may I radiate goodness, so what other people see is their goodness. This, friends, is to bring the Buddha within us alive in love and peace. Enjoy your practice, and I hope to see you on Sunday. And if not, another time. Until then, namaste.